Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the He's on Fire podcast.
He's on fire!
We got a big game tomorrow, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I know tomorrow doesn't matter in the records. I know tomorrow is not a finals game, but you know what? This means something to me. I'm sure it means something to quite a few fans, but we're going to get into this whole thing tonight. We got Jay in the house. We are going to have Suns fan Randy coming to join us anytime here. Big game. Big game. F the Bucks. You know the saying. He's on Fire podcast. Let go.
Urkavici sets. Looks up. And it is caught. Down strong. Blitz coming. Matthews. Palmer extending the play. Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley. Oh! He puts it down. He puts it down. They're getting a little wobbly. But it's downfield. Just out of you. A foot race. They won't get him. 17.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for tomorrow night. I want this win bad. I want this win because mostly I really just kind of want to know what the national media is going to say after this. I mean, we've got a lot of dudes that are healthy, and they are, for the most part, pretty healthy. So I want to know what the national media is going to say if we come out with this win. What's it going to be? What's the narrative going to be? They weren't healthy. They were missing some. No, it's not going to be any of that. So what is the narrative going to be when we win tomorrow? And I ask you first, JJ, what's the narrative going to be tomorrow when we win?
A possible finals rematch. Like it was a very entertaining finals, series last year. I have high expectations for the game tomorrow. I'm nervous, but I have a good feeling, and I just want to come out guns blazing, and this is going to be a moral victory for us for sure.
And Fabio already coming in. If
Exactly.
we win, it's because Brooke Lopez is injured. Yeah, he's already coming out with it. You know what? You ain't wrong. Suns fan Randy is in the house. Thank you for joining us. But what is the narrative going to be for the Phoenix Suns if we win tomorrow? What's the narrative going to be?
I think that, like I said, I feel like I'm so used to not getting credit now, and just like everything is like for a reason or whatever. So like Jay said, it's gonna be because we're in, or because they don't have Brooke Lopez and stuff like that. So I mean, but we need this dub. You know what I'm saying? Especially just as a measuring stick. And I feel like we're gonna come out in that first quarter and kind of show them a little bit, and then after that we're gonna kind of go away. Like I feel like the first quarter is gonna be like the most, the quarter that you should pay attention to the most.
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that. And I want to go back to what Ahmet said on our last podcast when we had Justin on, which, by the way, Justin, Fanning the Flames, thank you guys for the shout out on your podcast as well, too, with Dan Duarte. Really appreciate you guys, which, by the way, for the record, our most listened to episode over on Spotify, Anchor, and all the audio platforms was the last one. So thank you, everybody that listened. Go ahead and share this out. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate your support, but we need to go back to what Ahmet said because he had a very, very good point. Are we going to play our game or are we going to hold back? Randy, I want to start with you.
Yeah, so I think that just as a fan, I feel like you should be watching close just that first quarter because I think that we're going to show them a little bit of a couple of sets, just how we're gonna kind of defend them and stuff like that. Like in the first quarter, just like I'm interested to see if we're gonna come out double big because like we kind of got Bam and JaVale McGee and Sticks or whatever the case may be. So we got them, or like the reason why we went and got all those bigs is kind of to contain Giannis. I don't know if Jay Crowder is necessarily the best person to. I mean, granted, he's gotten better at rebounding, so I think that offensive, like boxing out and stuff like that, like Jay Crowder definitely has gotten better. But I don't know if like it's just gonna be very interesting to see. But I would kind of think that they might go double big, but I don't know who would you go double big with. Like I wouldn't want to see Aiden and JaVale McGee and Sticks, but it's just like Sticks is not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? But that would be an ideal situation for him.
And this is where a Frank Kaminsky would help.
Yeah,
this is where
perfect.
Dario would help. I mean, if we would have had Dario last year, I think we probably win, to be honest with you. I think he offsets a lot of their extra stuff. I mean, before I go any further on that, JJ, do you think we're going to be holding back some stuff? Do you think we're going to open up the full playbook and really try to whoop them? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, Book said it best. It's not a finals game. You know, I'm sure the team is focused like this is just a regular game, but what do you think they're going to do?
I think for sure Monty's going to hold a lot of things back because, you know, like we sort of got exposed in defensive sets in the finals last year. But last regular season, we swept the Bucks in the season. So it's kind of like what do you show now and what do you show later? And I think Monty has a lot of stuff up his sleeve, and I think he's prepared to unveil those throughout the rest of the season. So I think, yeah, of course, Book and the rest of the Suns are going to say like, oh, it's just another regular season game. But I know, like, we know how Booker is. We know how CP is. They're going to come out guns blazing and just try to finish his game early. And now, like, we're in a position where we have those bigs to kind of fill that void that we were missing in our finals run. But what is probably going to maybe kill us or maybe be a defining thing tomorrow is our bench unit. We don't have campaign. So I don't know how the Bucks are game planning for that. They're probably stoked that campaign isn't going to be such a factor tomorrow. I think that's why Book and Cam Johnson and Mikal really have to step up just on the offensive end, and our bigs, they need to really step up and just plant their feet and contest a shot.
And that's what I'm really looking forward to is this matchup with the bigs. How are we going to match up with Giannis this time? How is DA going to match up with Giannis? Can he play a little more physical knowing he's got Biz and McGee behind him, which, by the way, is JaVale McGee not your like most favorite hype man now? Have you guys seen these videos?
Yeah.
Where my dogs at?
I'll wait for him to post after almost every game just to see, like, it's just good to see the locker room and stuff like that.
But can DA actually be more physical? Now, when we played them in the finals, I mean, he touched Giannis and he's shooting 17 free throws, right? I mean, didn't Giannis shoot 21 to 23 free throws in one of the finals games, which probably will never happen again? And he was just on one. And, you know, you can talk about trying to slow down players. I think he's one of the dudes you don't stop. You just try and slow down and just try to get him out of the rhythm. But then he passed it over to Chris Middleton, who killed us. And then he passed it over to Drew Holiday, who killed us. And then Pat Connaughton had a couple games where he was shooting. But you know who killed us the most?
Bobby
Portis.
Yeah, that was unacceptable.
So how are we matching up with those guys? How are we going to let Connaughton run loose? Are we going to let Grayson Allen get loose on us, right? Or are we going to let Bobby Portis do what he did? So what are all these matchups? Personally, I've got two that I'm really looking at other than DA versus the bigs. Fabio nailed it. Or Fabio, excuse me, I'm not sure which. Is Scott Foster going to be reffing this game? That's going to be a big one. If he is, that's a question.
The NBA's on an agenda, dude.
Man. But the other one, you know who won that finals, in my opinion, was the defensive pressure of, and I've said it before on this podcast, of Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Can CP and Devin Booker overcome that defense? Now, they switch everything, you guys. They switch everything. They didn't switch when it came to the high pick and rolls last year. with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday fought through everything.
Yeah.
And they did not switch. So what are we going to see from them on the defensive side? If they don't switch, you can throw this game away. If they switch, then I think this is going to be a real game. If Drew Holiday pesters full court, fights through picks, I think it's going to be an amazing game, a great barometer of what this season can ultimately entail for us. Randy, digest kind of what I said with my keys and what I'm kind of looking at. What do you think?
Another player too that you forgot about that they have two coming off the bench is Dante DiVincenzo.
He didn't play last year.
Yeah, he didn't play last year, and he played. I don't know if you watched the game when they played the Lakers and just took care of him and stuff like that.
I sure did,
man. So it's like the thing that I'm scared of the most, first and foremost, outside of just like the like what we're gonna do is just like we struggle against teams that can shoot the three ball really well, and Milwaukee has a bunch of shooters around that can knock the three down. Include like they got Bobby Portis, they got Dante, they got Grayson Allen who can knock down a few. Pat Connaughton has been like, you know what I'm saying, lights out for him and stuff like that too. So it's just like, and then on top of that, you got Chris Middleton, and then Drew Holiday can hit some clutch buckets. So it's just like, I don't know, like this game we're gonna have to come out and be locked in. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be an ultimate, like, all right, so we can see what we do against teams that can knock down a 3-2. So I feel like if we don't come out on that early, then it can kind of get away from us. But back to the point of just like matching up wise and stuff like that, I think that I don't think that we're going to see each other's best punch. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Milwaukee is going to try to show us too much. I don't think we're not going to show them too much. So it's like, I don't know. I do think that Drew Holiday is probably going to go D-Book, and they're probably going to try to throw Pat Connaughton on Chris Paul or something like that. But
you don't think Grayson Allen will try to get some book time?
I think he might. But another thing too this year is like Chris Paul struggles with people that pick him up full court, or like, you know what I'm saying? The games that like, well, he'll take over in the fourth or whatever. But like, if you pick him up all like in a regular season, like if you pick him up all 94 feet or whatever, like he struggles that game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the Clippers did it. I forgot what other couple teams do it, but it's just like, that's kind of like been a key too. So it's just like, I don't know. It's going to be a real interesting game.
And what we learned from JJ last year is that Chris Paul wasn't even healthy. I mean, not our JJ, not this good looking guy JJ, the other JJ Redick. What we learned from JJ Redick in that podcast was Chris Paul was nowhere near healthy. I mean, he could barely even feel the ball when he's bouncing it, man. So I'm curious if they're able to conjure up something a little bit different when it comes to that full court press, because I've noticed that too. And that was one of our biggest things. I've said it on the podcast. I mean, he picked that defense up on every possession to the point we would try to get matchups and try to get whatever, and he's just fighting through everything. And all of a sudden there was like 8 seconds on the play clock. And it was so hard to find things. Another thing that they're missing this year is PJ Tucker. Grayson Allen and Dante DiVincenzo, Pat Connaughton cannot pick up that defensive slack that PJ Tucker does. So that's why I think we're going to see Grayson Allen on him, and I just think Booker's going to be able to scorch him. I just hope he doesn't embarrass him to the point where Grayson Allen does something effing stupid. JJ, which real quick, Randy, I haven't given you a shout out with that clean jersey that you got on right now. Cam Johnson purple special for those listening in. Nice and clean. It would look really good with an autograph on it.
Oh yeah, this is I got this one from the arena. I got the PayPal. You can't really see it because I got it on backwards, but yeah, it's official tissue right here.
Official. You got an ugly hat still, but that's okay.
Change the hat, man.
Man, you know what's crazy? I've been getting a lot of grief ever since I came on here with this hat. You know, like just in the comment section and just people. I didn't realize how much weight this hat holds, like outside of LA. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and just for a disclaimer, so if you see this and you see the hat, like I do not watch baseball like that. Like I'm not a baseball fan or whatever the case may be. So it's just like in LA, you can only wear a few hats, and this is one of them. So I have an abundance of LA hats.
I think everybody, if you can, go to our Anchor site. It's in the description, and donate to the podcast. If we can somehow donate $20 to $30, $35 for Suns fan Randy to get another LA hat, but to get it upside down, like the campaign special.
I have one. I have to go look for it. So I'll check. I'll look in my trunk for it.
That's a He's on Fire podcast special hat right there. You need to wear that one. But JJ, talk to me about Drew Holiday. I am more afraid of him than Giannis. Giannis is going to do what Giannis is going to do. Chris Middleton is up and down. I'm looking forward to Mikal guarding Chris Middleton, by the way. But Drew Holiday was that catalyst on defense to stop us. Are you worried about Drew Holiday this year, JJ?
I mean, it's kind of hard not to be worried about a guy like Drew Holiday. You know, like going into the finals, I was really like I didn't give him like the props and stuff going into the finals and stuff. I just kind of underrated his capability on the defensive side and plus his shooting. But we know how that went. But I mean, yeah, I'm definitely worried to see Drew Holiday. But you know, he's not a known shooter. You know, he's a defensive point. He knows how to push the tempo, have good. He's just a good facilitator. Yeah, he's very underrated, and that kind of bit me in the ass last year. But he's not known for his shooting. So I think how we need to go into this game is kind of like how we did against the Sixers last night, was kind of let Embiid have let DA just handle what's going on in the paint, and let's just close off all scoring threats like Middleton and Dante. He can be streaky sometimes, and Pat Connaughton too. Like he can be streaky as well, but you know, he is like Joe Harris. Like when he's on, but when he's off, it's bad. So it's you just have to pick and choose. And the Suns are coming in off a back-to-back. They have kind of a little bit of rest.
Finally back home.
Yeah, finally back home, unwinded, and just we're going in full energy. So hopefully we can get a sense of you know, how this team is by halftime and stuff, and we can kind of just take moral victories if you want, but the moral victory at the end of the day is beating this Bucks team. So
you know, I'm a little afraid to beat them now and have it bear any weight when it comes to if we play them in the finals. You know, I don't want to. Part of me thinks if we lose, we might get more of a chip on our shoulder. I mean, I can talk myself into anything, but Randy, are you looking at this game like a big game? I mean, I think personally for Suns fans, right? Are you personally, is this a big game for you?
Yes and no, because last year it kind of bit us in the ass in the sense of, I don't know if you remember, like when Giannis missed the game winning shot, and then D-Book in the post game was like, "Oh, they was like, how did you feel when Giannis grabbed the ball and was about to shoot it?" He was like, "When he grabbed it, I was like, I was thinking we're in pretty good shape." And then it was just like, and then in the finals, it's just like, damn, like that didn't age well at all. But anyways, it's kind of a big game just because, like I said, I'm kind of fearful. Like, yes, I want to see him again in the finals just so we can get that run back, just get a second chance at it. But then, like I said, too, I feel like I don't know if we necessarily match up. Like, I can't say that with my whole chest and be like, oh, like we match up well against Milwaukee, because another thing, too, is that like if Book starts to go crazy, like Giannis will go out there and go guard D-Book. I don't know if he's going to do it in the regular season, but you know what I'm saying? If it need be, like he will go out there and guard D-Book. And like Iverson Vlog kind of just said in the chat, he was like, we need more out of DA. So if Giannis does step out and go like, you know what, I'm shutting it down, or I'm gonna try to lock up D-Book, we need DeAndre Ayton to take care of Bobby Portis, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever the mismatch may be. So it's just, I don't know, it's just depending on like I said, it's gonna be definitely like a measuring stick just to see like how locked in these guys are really.
Yeah, I mean, what we were missing. Sorry, Evan, but we were missing in that finals was DA's offensive presence. So if he can at least get something on the board, like maybe a cool 10, 15 points with like a double-digit boards, I'm looking at a win. If everybody else is banging on all cylinders and stuff. So DA was occupied in the finals trying to just defend him, and he was gassed and foul trouble, so he was never in the game. So.
Couldn't really get a flow, yeah,
couldn't get a flow. So if we have an offensive presence from DA down low, and then you know Book is doing his thing, CP's doing his thing, and I really want to use Cam Johnson in this game a lot more than Jay. I think if we have that outside shooting going early, like we can kind of put this game away pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we're at home. That crowd is going to be loud. That crowd is going to be insane. JJ, is this a big game for you too, personally? Are you excited for this game? Like, personally, does this mean, like, record-wise, win or lose, it's not going to overall affect the season too much at this point? Mm-hmm. Are you excited?
Yeah, I am. We're halfway, or a little more than halfway through the season. I think we can kind of just unleash and just kind of go crazy on this team, and we play them again March 6th, and that'll be the last time we play them for the season. And that game is kind of like whatever. After that March 6th game, I think there's like 10 to 12 games left, so it's not a big deal if we lose that second one. But I really want to win this first one just to keep my sanity, to keep just so we don't have to read Suns Twitter like, dude, trade everybody, trade Booker.
Well, we can't. We will be officially past the trade deadline at that point. So I kind of want to get into. We can talk about a few of the trades real quick. At the end of the third, the Jazz are up 14 on the Warriors, by the way. So that definitely helps us in the standings later. With 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, the Blazers, with like nobody on their team, are beating the Lakers by 4 points. So that's fun. The Kings are losing by 2 to start the fourth quarter to the Timberwolves, and Domantas Sabonis's opening game with them, I guess you could say. 14 points, 8 rebounds for him on 7 of 13 shooting. I'm sure he'll come out with a double-double at the end of the fourth quarter like per usual for him. Cavs beat the Spurs tonight. Bulls beat up on the Hornets, and the Raptors beat up on the Thunder to round out the night. But these games, the Jazz and Warriors, Blazers and Lakers are like what, the 8th or 9th seed right now. Yeah, so nice. we could potentially play them again in the first round, which I would love. What are you showing up there? No, Shaquille O'Neal something. I can't read that off your phone.
Okay. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal says powerful source within the Lakers says they're right where they want to be, rather face Suns and Warriors.
Yeah, Shaq has been pissing me off. Like Shaq is literally pissing me off. Like literally.
Shout out Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew Johnson. It is. He's looking crispy in it. I think that's Matthew's favorite player. He always speaks highly of him, even when he was slumping. He was like, "No, he's gonna be fine." And lo and behold, Cameron Johnson's doing Cameron Johnson things. Pissed off about the 3-point contest, but I don't even need to get into that. We know what kind of garbage it is. We expect that from Suns fans, but sure, let's definitely put Karl Anthony Towns in there. That makes way more sense. That's the best 3-point shooter.
But to go back to Shaq, like he was literally pissing me off. Like he was said, like on his podcast, he said that we have turmoil in the locker room. On TNT, he was like, we're on a 2-game losing streak, and then he comes out and just like, oh, like Phoenix doesn't have anybody that scares him or like whatever. And it's just like, bro, like you're at this point, like, I don't know if you're doing this like out of motivation and just like, oh, like I just want to say stuff to get those dudes riled up or whatever. Like maybe they have some sort of like player relationship, but it's just like, he just sounds really like silly at this point. It's just like, all right, like, do I got to tune you out too?
Everybody should pay more attention to Jayyy Redick. If you guys haven't been paying attention to Jayyy Redick, do it. He has been speaking facts and truth against Stephen A. and challenging him and being like, what are you doing? You're kind of stupid. We need to talk about the Heat.
It's not because like he talks highly of the Suns. Like, of course, we appreciate that. But he's talking from a player standpoint in the modern era, talking how the game is. And I've disagreed with him on a couple of his takes and stuff. But he's consistent with his takes, and like he doesn't say out wild shit. He he says his perimeters, and his podcast is great. Old Man in the 3. I listen to it all the time. Great podcast. They just had Desmond Bain on. That dude's cool as hell. If you guys want to listen to a basketball podcast, listen to that. Very insightful. But the interview with Chris Paul was great. Like I loved it from start to finish. But Jayyy Redick and Kendrick Perkins sometimes they can speak highly about the Suns, and they just have more wider binoculars when it comes to viewing the NBA. So.
That's a great way to put it. It's funny. In high school we didn't have I had to do an independent course study for journalism because I wanted to be a journalism major, and turned out I didn't want to do that. But in high school, I was trying to get there, and I actually emailed Stephen A. Smith. This was back when he was in the Philadelphia Inquirer, when he was cool. So I emailed him like 20 years ago, back and forth, like 2 or 3 times. He was so cool to me. He was forever my favorite. And then he's just been on one for the past few years. But everybody knows that. We don't need to get into that. What I do want to ask Randy before he has to go on his Lakers podcast. Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. I wanted to ask you about some of the trades that have gone down, Randy. what the hell are the Kings doing and what the hell are the Blazers doing? Do you have any insight there? And our good fan, our naming expert here, Albert, he joined us. He's the one that gave us the name He's on Fire podcast. So shout out Albert, and he will definitely help you out with whatever you need with naming rights for a handsome fee. So shout out Albert. Thanks for dropping by. Kings and Blazers, Randy. WTF?
Yeah, I felt bad for Tyrese Halliburton. Like they put out a little thing saying, or like a report saying that he was crying in the locker room, or he was crying when he got the message that he was getting traded after Action Management, and they told him no, he wasn't going to be traded. I think that the Pacers got a little bit better. I think that Chris Duarte out of Oregon is really good. He just needs a little bit more time and development. I think Tyrese Halliburton, he definitely proved me wrong, because I was like, when we didn't draft him, I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm not really. Like, I wasn't really big on him just because, like, he has a set shot, and it takes a long time for him to kind of get it off, but it's efficient. So it's just like, and I was just kind of worried about him long term in the sense of just getting his jumper off, and is he going to be able to get it off at NBA speed? But he proved me wrong, so I'll take that. But it was very confusing. I don't know what the Kings are planning to do or like what they're trying to do, but I feel like whenever I feel like the Kings are getting close, like they just always do stuff to go back. And then with the Portland Trailblazers, I think I guess go out on a limb here, but I think that the Portland Trailblazers, I'm like a big Damian Lillard fan too. I think the Portland Trailblazers are going to try to pull like a Chicago Bulls. Like the Chicago Bulls kind of did the same thing last year. They blew it up and they only got Vucevic back. And then it was kind of like, what are y'all doing? And whoop, whoop, and blah, blah, blah. And then like now they were super aggressive in the offseason, got Lonzo, got DeMar DeRozan, got a bunch of other pieces. Caruso and
Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah, so it's just like I feel like that's what Portland's trying to go with it. And for people to think that Damian Lillard doesn't know or didn't get a heads up of, hey, like this is what we're trying to do. Like I feel like it kind of shows the trust from Dame more than anything. But like I guess he's not going to really come out and say anything about it. But if you think that the GM didn't say, hey, look, we're going to trade one of your favorite, you know what I'm saying, the dudes that you've been playing with for the last 10 years, we're going to blow this team up, or we're going to try to rebuild it, and this is our plan. Or, like, if you don't think that they laid out a blueprint for him, like, you're a little bit crazy. Like, just a little bit.
I agree. Real quick, Jazz are up 22 all of a sudden on the Warriors.
I kind of disagree with you, Randy, about the Portland thing.
Go ahead.
Like, this organization is so frustrating to me. So like, and this is coming from a Suns fan, dude. And I'll get into the Kings later. It's just like Dame. Like I love Dame. I like. There's nothing wrong with him and stuff. I feel like he's kind of playing the kind of like I'm trying to be the good guy card and stuff. And like he's done that his whole career. I'm not saying that's a bad card to play. Like I'm trying to be loyal and stuff. But like the game plan that the GM showed Dame is like, hey, we're going to trade CJ McCollum for nothing comparable to him and surround you around all these C+ players.
Dude.
Right. I get it.
Well, so what's the bigger plan besides Dame leaving? And like,
we just lost your audio.
Me?
Who?
Oh no, it was me. It was me. Keep talking. It was mine. Keep going.
Like it's just yeah, Dame can put his stamp of approval on it, but I only see that if he's planning on leaving, because I don't know who you can trade or just get something better out of the pieces that they just received. Like they got rid of like kind of like their main core. Like
are you guys not excited to see Eric Bledsoe and Damian Lillard together? Remember they traded Norman Powell away too. They traded Gary Trent Jr., somebody that was younger, for an established veteran like Norman Powell to play defense, to be that wing perimeter dude. And then they trade him off to the Clippers after he just bought like a house and all that crap for Eric Bledsoe, which makes no sense. And now they want to flip Eric Bledsoe. So the moves that they're making, I completely agree with Randy. I think they are going to try and build around Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard, and Nurkic. But if you look at the free agents next year, I don't know where they're going to be getting those dudes from. You can't trade you traded away your best asset in CJ McCollum. Y'all should have traded for Ben Simmons, and then you could have traded an even better piece if you wanted to package Simons and Powell together for something.
Dude,
You
they coulda got
could have been
Halliburton.
on easy street.
Yeah.
And they could have got healed. Like,
Could have
really,
at least
like,
gotten Sabonis. I would be down with Sabonis, Nurkic, and Damian Lillard. But you know what,
absolutely.
Eric Bledsoe and was it Hernan Gomez? I forget who the hell
Yeah,
they got.
it was-
They got Josh Hart. They got Josh Hart.
Yeah,
Darth
yeah,
Void
Josh
is
Hart.
target for the Suns. They got Hart.
Yeah, so
What-
I don't
what-
know.
what-
It's just the ultimate trust fall, I feel like, from Dame. But it could backfire on him. I'm not saying that it's going to be but I feel like you could kind of make the same argument for the Bulls, too. Like, you could say, like, why would Zach LaVine say, like, if they blew it up and they only got Vucevic back, then it's like, what are we doing? You know? But go ahead.
But there's not dudes like Lonzo Ball and DeRozan
Yeah.
in next year's free agency. So that's I
Yeah,
don't know what they're doing.
I get
What
it.
we're talking about is freshman team Chicago Bulls, like
Mhm.
basically, like what the Chicago Bulls did. Like, a lot of people were skeptical. I was pretty high on them. I thought they were going to be better than the Celtics going forward for the next like 3-4 years if they kind of keep this sustainability going. And so far, that's working. But like, I don't know what Portland's doing. It's really irritating because like I'm a big fan of Dame. He's been nothing but loyal and consistent throughout his whole career there, and has always been nice and stuff. But I just think the front office has done a giant disservice with just a lack of people to put around Dame and CJ. Like, who doesn't want to play with those guys? You know, it's like.
I mean, here's I'm looking through the list right now. Zach LaVine is actually going to be a free agent, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't re-sign with the Bulls at this point. Or maybe he wants to be the number one dude. DeRozan overtook him and he's pissed off. So who knows? That could be a possibility. That would Damian Lillard and Zach LaVine would be fun, but it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same as it is now. You might as well stay with Lonzo and co. James Harden. I don't know if anybody wants James Harden at this point next year. I would stay 10 feet away from James Harden. So that doesn't make sense.
He is bad, dude. Like,
Yeah, super bad.
I mean, I'm just going through the list. I'm not seeing any guy that's going to make that kind of an impact next year outside of who I've already mentioned. I mean, good luck, John Wall. But you're not gonna sign a point guard. TJ Warren can't stay healthy. There's nobody on the Clippers next year that's coming off. The Lakers got nobody signed for next year outside of Ant, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook as a player option. So I hope he stays. He has to pick it up. Nobody's gonna want to sign Russell Westbrook, so he has to pick that up. I mean, the Heat aren't losing any of their big guys. The Bucks aren't losing any of their big guys. Even some players that have a restriction or player thing going on. Patrick Beverly is the best player coming off the T-Wolves. Like, there just isn't those dudes next year, so I don't understand where they're going with it. I don't. I mean, Gary Harris, I could see Gary Harris teaming up right next to Damian Lillard, but their plan is to have Anthony Simons, so I bet you that's not even going to work out.
Right.
And Nurkic is a free agent next year.
Yeah, you know what? Since we were talking about the Chris Paul or JJ Redick on the Chris Paul and the JJ Redick podcast, can I say something? Get it off my chest, because I was thinking about this and I was just like,
We'll full screen you.
All right, so
take the LA head off while you're full screen.
ISO Randy. So something about that pod that kind of like made me mad. I guess I might be by myself on it too. Is that like, it made me concerned about like the ego and the pride of Chris Paul, in the sense of, because he was talking about the finals, he was talking about the playoff trip, and he was talking about he was hurt and stuff like that, and he was playing injured and stuff like that. But I feel like this team, they always talk about being a family and being there for each other and, you know, holding each other accountable and leaning on each other for stuff. So it's like, if you were hurt, and if you go back and watch the game 6 or whatever, like, Cameron Payne wasn't that bad. So it's just like, I feel like Cameron Payne should have been out there a little bit more, and you should have fell back a little bit and like let go of that pride of like, all right, I'm Chris Paul, I have to be out there and whoop and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you could have because Cam Payne had a good game 6. Like, he went, I think he shot like 7 for 7 with like 20 points or whatever. And he kind of like led us back to 9 or whatever the case may be, him and Cam Johnson. But it was like, I feel like, at what point do you kind of hold him accountable to like, all right, like, Chris, like, this is a little bit your fault, like the reason why we lost. And that was my only gripe kind of watching that pod, like that episode, was just like, I feel like the pride and the ego a little bit like hurt us like at the end of it. But I don't know. I feel like I may be
I agree. It did seem like dudes like Cam Johnson and McHale and some of those guys were a little shell-shocked. It felt like the moment was a little bit too big for them. So, but that's out of the way now. Completely different team. I think Devin Booker had a lot weighing on him too, knowing about CP. I think they just needed CP out there for the mental side. But what you're saying is completely, I mean, he was almost like a decoy used a lot of the time too.
And
But what you're saying is completely correct. And I'm glad you brought up campaign because everybody's been dogging him a little bit for his struggles. And I happen to think he's going to be like DA, where DA is up and down, inconsistent through the season. But when we need him in the playoffs, he showed up. In the bubble run, campaign showed up more than anybody. Campaign was a killer in that bubble run. Campaign was a killer when Chris Paul was out, and we needed him. He was a killer in that Lakers run. He was a killer against the Nuggets, but I mean, our whole team was during that series. Yeah. So
but like I'm saying is like, at what point does it be like, all right, like you're hurting the team with like your pride? Because like he said, like he had no business being out there. Monty pulled him to the side and said, look, we're going to sit you down, even though like it worked out. But it's just like in the finals, it was kind of one of the same things because he was dealing with a wrist. And it was just like, you had a second chance to kind of be like, you know what? We're a team. I trust these guys. You know what I'm saying? We're a family. Like I can trust campaign to do X, Y, and Z. And I could chip in wherever I can get in and just, you know what I'm saying, ride that wave. But I feel like it was just, like I said, I feel like it's a little bit of like ego, like, nah, like everybody's expecting me to, this is my first finals and da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. So I got it. And it seemed like after like maybe game 2, like when we thought that we were just going to sweep the Bucks, it was kind of like D-Book and Chris Paul were kind of like debating like who's going to get finals MVP. Like I felt like it was like a little inner competition, but I don't know. That's maybe I'm a Virgo, so I might be overthinking it.
What do you think, JJ? Do you think there's some validity to that?
I think to a certain extent, but when you're a professional athlete at the highest level possible and you're considered a Hall of Famer, you want to prove it to yourself. And why else is CP playing at the level that he is right now? You know, last year too, and with this Thunder run too, he wants a ring. He strives for that. He's been striving for that for his whole career, and it's like a future Laker.
That's probably the truest thing I've seen on here all day.
Dude, like James Harden's so irritating. If anyone wants to talk about James Harden, add me on Twitter and we can go back and forth about it. But like when you're a professional athlete at the highest level, like every player has an ego because at one point you were that guy like in your hometown, you know. And when everybody comes, like when all those bad guys meet up in the league, you know, it's who's ever on top at the end of the day. And Chris Paul, you know, like what's his like playoff like reputation? He gets hurt in the big moments.
Yep.
He doesn't show up. Yeah, like I wouldn't want that like hovering over my head again. He got hurt like game 1, like against the Lakers in round 1. Like if I was Chris Paul, I'd be like, dude, I'm playing. Like, what the hell is this? You know, even though he had no business being out there. Like just for my sake and for my reputation, like I have to play. And like, what do you know? It was nothing serious. He got it checked a bunch of times. He got other opinions. Like, is this going to get worse? They said no. Just try not to use it. And he did whatever he could, and it ended up leveling out. But
he got COVID.
And he got COVID.
But go ahead.
Just all our good fortune came like at the end of when we finally got to the finals. You know, it's just like Booker's nose swolled up. Like Chris Paul is just like hammered all upper body and COVID. Yep. Like both of our big guys, Torrey and Dario, get hurt like game 1.
Dario gets hurt his first freaking drive.
Yeah, so it's like just a lot of bad things happened at once, and and if you ask any NBA player, they say to get to NBA finals, they said this on the podcast actually, it takes a lot of luck and good fortune and even make it to the finals or even win one. So I have Chris Paul's back. I think every NBA player has a strong ego to a certain extent. So
Randy, I know you got to dip off and go on your podcast a little bit. But before you do, two things. One, do you think we're going to make a move tomorrow? And I saw a couple Eric Gordon comments in the comment space, and I want to address that in a minute, specifically Eric Gordon. But are we going to make a move by the deadline tomorrow? And give us a plug on your podcast and give us the juice on what's going on over there.
Yeah, so I think that we're gonna make a move, or like I think that we might be more in the buyout. I think that we're probably not gonna make a move, but I think we might get somebody on the buyout.
Sure.
But if anything, I say Sticks and probably Dario is gone or whatever. So but maybe even Frank, but I don't think anybody want Frank. But so you can but yeah, man, so you can catch me. Yeah, you can catch me on YouTube at Stay Off My Grass Pod. You can catch me on Twitter at Off My Grass Pod, and and we're about to go over and just I'm about to go crap on these Lakers real quick. It looked like they're losing, or it might be a nail biter.
The Lakers are losing.
So
boom shakalaka,
which is always a good thing. In fact,
boom shakalaka.
Yusuf Nurkic got a rebound. Malik Monk fouled, so one more free throw will ice this game. Blazers full timeout right now, so they might not be in the bonus yet, but they got possession. And the Jazz are beating up on the Warriors. Randy, I know you got to dip out. Any final words you want to say before you hopefully join us on Sunday or next Wednesday?
No, just keep a lookout for the Valley jerseys because they come out in February. Well, they come out this month. They should be coming out in a few weeks or a couple of days. So. And just know that there's no more. Like, they're not coming back next season. So get them while you can. Don't be the one without the Valley Booker jersey.
Man, facts, man. Thanks, bro, for coming on. We appreciate you. We'll catch you next time. All right.
All right, man.
Thanks, Randy.
Later. Randy's always a good time. We're very fortunate that he's able to come on to our podcast. So you guys make sure you go check out Stay Off My Grass podcast. Check out Randy, who actually has Twitter now. All good things. Eric Gordon, I've said it. I'm more convinced, even more so now than I was on Sunday, that we need Eric Gordon. I just keep running back what Jrue Holiday did to us in those finals, what he personally did to Booker and to Chris Paul, how he just absolutely interrupted the whole flow, the whole scheme, everything. And to get another guy that can play make, create shots, and nail them at a high clip over his whole career is so important for this team right now. Right now, win mode. Give 2 first-round picks if you have to. I don't care. We are in win now mode. I mean, if we come out of this season without a championship, is this a failed season? I think so. JJ, you think so? Is this a failed season if we don't win a ship?
Absolutely. Like, this is a championship caliber team. Like we're at the point, like, we're not being like stubborn. Like, it's just
we can't be stubborn. We've never won anything. We just want it so bad.
Exactly. Like, we came 2 games short, and like, you look at the rest of the competition in the league, and who really poses a threat besides the Warriors and the Bucks when healthy?
Bucks, Heat.
And Heat, yeah, sorry.
That's
no disrespect to the Heat, but yeah, like, though we're in the top 4, and we're not 4, 3, or 2, in my opinion. So,
but right now we're not. Right now in the regular season, and it's complete. Playoffs happen, injuries happen. You get into rhythms. I mean, just different things happen, and you scheme differently. Lakers are with the ball, 3 seconds left, down 5, so it looks like the Lakers are going to lose again. But having a guy off the bench that's going to do work against other bench guys is huge, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to do if you're Milwaukee and you have Eric Gordon, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker on the court together? You're going to throw out Jrue Holiday, sure. You're going to throw out Grayson Allen, sure. You're going to throw out Pat Connaughton, sure. Who are your other 2 guys? Are you going to go Giannis and Middleton? If so, like, I like that lineup for us. Are you going to go Giannis and Bobby Portis? At that point, it starts kicking a few guys down the pegs a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once one of those subs go out, what's their counter going to be? So we need Eric Bledsoe. Do what you can, James Jones. get Eric Bledsoe, and get Thad Young off the buyout market.
Gordon, we don't want Bledsoe. Gordon.
I'm thinking Eric. I got Eric in mind. Eric Gordon. F Eric Bledsoe.
We don't want you here.
No, I don't want you to be here, Eric. Thank you very much. So real quick, I just want to point out Sabonis, just like I said, bruh, 22 points and 13 rebounds in his first game, his debut game with the Kings, 124-117 right now. Kings over the T-Wolves. T-Wolves are 29 and 25. They're creeping up on a 7 slot or I think a 6 slot even. Don't sleep on them. How about this for a first round matchup? Warriors and Timberwolves. Who's going to guard Carl Anthony? Who's going to guard Carl Anthony Thomas or Towns? Excuse me. Who's going to guard Cat? If you're the Warriors, you're going to put Wiseman out there. Dude hasn't played it. You're going to put Draymond Green on Cat. Have fun. Enjoy that. That's going to be
anything about Draymond's injury.
Yeah, he'll be back at some point.
Yeah, it sounded like really serious, like the back disc going into like the calf. You know, it was.
Yeah,
it just sounded like a really serious injury. So I have no clue. What's up, Roy?
Is it a calf? Is it a calf thing?
No, so it was a back disc that was rubbing against his spine, and then that was affecting his calf. So it was kind of like a 3 sort of injury connected sort of thing. So it sounded serious, and I didn't know what it took to, fix that. But
if anybody has any insight on Draymond Green, that would be awesome. I'm trying to look up something as we're talking at the same time to see what kind of timetable. I see something here that said 2 weeks, but I don't know when that was reported. Draymond Green, February 1st. I mean, he was out on January 16th. He's going to be out through the All-Star break with a back injury, and that was on February 1st. So, Warriors announced several evaluations. Green's calf injury is tied to the involvement of his disc in his lower back. I did know that. I've kind of slipped past that. But we know with calf injuries, you know what that turns into? Achilles injuries or groin injuries. And then you just can't do anything. So, definitely something to monitor. If Draymond Green is not I think Draymond Green is more important to that team now than Klay Thompson is. That's not debatable either.
Absolutely. If anyone tries to deny it, it's weird, like Warriors fans. So.
Yeah. We need to make a move. Eric Gordon is that dude. Thad Young on the buyout market. There's so many things coming out that Torrey Craig is absolutely available. So that's going to happen at some point, depending on where he goes. I don't know. We would all love to have Torrey Craig back. You know how I personally feel about Torrey Craig. I thought he was inconsistent. He guarded when he wanted to guard, but he was one of the fellas. You know, we saw him in the after season videos and stuff. So I question if he can be that dude. But you know what? He shut down Paul George and he won it for us. So I'm all about that. My next, Gary Harris. On a buyout, Gary Harris on a buyout would be clutch. I would love me some Gary Harris. I will absolutely take that. I think that's another player that can do us good. I'm not down with Goran Dragic. If you guys listen to Fanning the Flames, which thank you again for shouting us out, Justin and Paul and Dan, we appreciate that. He totally talked me out of Goran Dragic like it was no other real quickly. So I completely agree on that front. And that's kind of it for me. Those are the dudes. Thank God Sabonis is gone, so we don't even have to hear about that. I don't want to talk about it anymore, but it seems like he's going to do good in Sacramento. Just like what we were talking about beforehand. I think Sacramento making a move for Sabonis makes sense. I just think it was the wrong package of dudes.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off what you said, I definitely think we need Eric Gordon or just someone to score off the bench, just to pair alongside Campaign. If anyone out there listens to the Locked On Suns podcast with Brandon Clean, he's been Suns podcaster for forever. It feels like now. And
keep going a second.
He's been he was under controversy about just because he wasn't totally sold on the Eric Gordon thing. It sounds like he doesn't necessarily want Eric Gordon or thinks it's like the most appropriate move right now, considering just how this team is built now. I think everybody can agree this team is a lot better than last year's. I think we're not as dependent on CP's contribution as we were last year. And like Book is kind of flourishing into just a prime scorer. You can definitely take that as you will. And we think DA is a better player than he was last year. And you can go down the list and stuff. But we're at the point when we're in win now. We're in the position to secure a ring. Yeah, keep that up while I'm talking. We're in the point where we're just trying to win a ring. We almost did it last season, and I think this team is like James Jones constructed this team to win multiple championships within within a 5-year span if everything goes right. So I would like to take advantage of that. So I think if Eric Gordon can push us just a little bit to securing that Larry O'Brien at the end of the season, I'm all for it. I think he's that guy. Like, it's not like he's going to be playing 30 minutes a night. We're just asking for 15 to 20 off the bench just to at least keep the lead or build a lead like Campaign hasn't been able to like this season because, injuries and all that stuff. But like, I think that would just elevate us to another level. And I think everybody is going to be like, dude, like this Suns team is pretty stacked. So that's where I'm kind of leaning towards as well. So I'm glad we didn't grab Sabonis. I'm glad we don't have to talk about that anymore. I don't know what Sacramento's doing. I think they're in the shit for another 5 years, because
I unfortunately I gotta jump off here in just a few minutes. I've got a screaming kid on my hands, so we might have to cut it just a little bit short, but we're coming up on an hour anyways. This is a good point by Iverson. Victor Oladipo did get his price lowered. That is a great point. No, I do not want Kuzma on this team at all.
No,
I don't think he has. I don't think he's a fella. I don't think he has what it takes. And plus, there's a whole Kardashian.
Yeah, we can't have a
dating and Booker. We can't have one of Kendall's ex. I just don't think that would work at all. I could be wrong. I don't care if he helps us win. I will forever be a Kuzma fan. In theory, his height and game and length and stuff would be good. I mean, he does have championship experience, but that was in the bubble, so you got to take that into the count. Overall, I just don't like Kyle Kuzma, so I don't want him. If James Jones deems Kyle Kuzma worthy, then you know what? It shows more than we know. Real quick, Kyler Murray scrubbing his Insta and all that of Cardinals stuff. I don't really care. I'm to the point where I'm so frustrated with this organization. I don't care. I think we need to keep him because he is a top third quarterback. And if you don't have a top third quarterback, you're not going to win. So do whatever you need to do to make Kyler Murray happy. Yeah, he's probably a $40 million player. I don't think he is, but it's a quarterback driven league. So we don't have a choice. You got to bring him back. Did you take into account that stuff, the scrubbing of Kyler? Did you think that was serious? His agent came out and said no comment. I thought what his agent said was way worse than what Kyler did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was definitely sudden, and when everybody reacts the same way, it's like, what the hell is he doing? Like, yeah, he's sending a subliminal message. Like this organization needs to pay Kyler. We're not going to get another Kyler, and you like set in stone. Like this is our franchise QB. We'll see down the line if he elevates us or. It's like there's no improvement there, but this the front office needs to pay this guy, build the team around him, and have the right people in Kyler's ear to elevate this offense. Because how we ended last season was a goddamn joke. So like we can't have that again. Like I forget who I was talking to on Twitter, but I just said I just want some sort of consistency. If it's winning or losing, I can't stand in that middle shit. Like I don't like that 8-8 shit. I don't like that. It's either I want to be winning consistently or losing consistently, so we know where we're at. So last season, I just want to put it behind me. It was a good stepping stone for the future. I think we're just starting to see things unravel. But just pay the guy. So.
Yep, we don't have a choice. We don't. And that's going to do it for this episode. I can't wait for tomorrow's game. I am stoked for it. I am psyched. I am thrilled. Flabbergasted. No, I guess not flabbergasted. But I'm super excited to see what we're going to do. But Randy's right. Yeah, Randy and Amit are right, man. watch what they do almost from the tip on defense, both teams. And we're going to find out what kind of game this is. I've got to hop off. I'm not even going to play the outro. I'm just going to do a end it right here. So you guys have a good night. Thank you for giving our last episode with Justin from Fanning the Flames, making it our most listened to episode yet through Anchor and Spotify and Google Playlists, whatever, however you get your audio podcasts. We appreciate you. Please like this video, share it out, subscribe, and we will catch you guys Sunday night. Have a good one, JJ.
You too, man.
Later.
See you guys.